Okay, mate.
Nice to see. I just going to start by asking you really, just in terms of Spurs fans always expect entertainment. Is that one of the, the biggest motivational factors? Is that something we can expect from almost the first game of one?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that. That's a fit for who I am as a manager and the kind of teams I've produced in the past. Because I've had a lot of success in my career, but it's also been done on the back of playing a certain way. And I dare to say that probably one of the biggest factors for the club appointing me was because they saw that, and that's what they want. So that's what I'm going to try and deliver. And as you said, I think that seems to be the right fit for this club. In terms of the fans' expectations, they like to see their teams, what we call entertainment, but also, win games of football, score goals, be exciting. I don't think they want to see their team sort of, sitting back. I mean, there are different ways of doing that, but the intent for us will be to try and make sure that we make this football club a compelling watch for everybody.
You talked about being brought in certain situations in the past. Does that challenge really invigorate you? Because that you've kind of got to build.
Yeah. It's the bit I love the best. I've said it in the past that I've been fortunate because I've had success, but whenever I reflect on every sort of job I've had, it's not the success that I kind of look back on, reflect on. It's the build that I reflect on, because at that time you know that it's not going to be smooth. There are going to be plenty of doubters, and that's when your belief and resolve gets tested. Not just for me personally, but for the whole club, the whole group. And I love working through that, and getting out the other side. I really enjoy it. And like I said, that was the biggest attraction for me in this position was. Aside from it being, like I said, a massive football club and the premier competition in the world, was an opportunity to do something that people will see as, in many respects, insurmountable. I love that.
There's clearly a big team ethos in your philosophy. Can this team be successful even if you do indeed lose Harry Kane this summer? Can you be successful without that outstanding individual?
I think, again, I don't think in those terms, but there's no doubt for me that, and I think Harry would say it himself, is he wants his team to be successful, and he's been very, very successful individually for a long time, pretty much since he first started at this football club, and yet the club hasn't had success. So he'd be the first one to say that we need to have a strong team, and that's where my focus is, to build a team that, will reflect the same sort of individual excellence that he's had within a team context. So, I'm certainly big on team ethos and making sure that, that we need a strong unit if we're going to be successful. And I'm sure Harry will be the first to vouch that needs to be the case.
John,
Matt. I am just Matt Law from the Daily Telegraph.
Okay, mate.
Just a quick story. We're seeing quite a public pursuit from Bayern Munich this summer. The bids are being made public. We're hearing that Thomas Tuchel's spoken to him personally on maybe a couple of occasions. Are you comfortable with how that's being carried out, or is it annoying you at all, or do you think it's right?
Look, if I say it's annoying me, I'd be misleading. But it doesn't register. I'm not, unless I always believe that you're much better sort of trying to understand what a situation is through your own eyes. And for me, it's, in my head right now, Harry's on holiday, he's lying on a sunbed and, playing with his family and having a great time. That's the picture I've got. Now, if other things are going on, I'm not going to think about them. And the reason I don't is because he'll be here in 2 days' time, and everything I need to know will be sitting right in front of me. So in the meantime, I'm not going to sort of lose time or sleep on sort of what conjecture there may or may not be out there. Some of it, because then you're jumping at shadows. How much of it is true? How much of it is not true? Nothing's landed on my desk at this moment from anybody at the club that says that there's a decision to be made there. Not even close to that. So because of that, like I said, I'm looking forward to having Harry here on sort of Wednesday and getting ready for the tour.
And is it important for you that this doesn't turn into a saga that runs throughout the summer up till August the 31st? Because we've seen that in the past.
Yeah.
Can be destabilised, not just this one.
And look, irrespective of my desires, I'm sure you guys will make sure it does. So, again, it's something I have no control over. So what I need to deal with is, and what I will deal with is, as I have with it in the past, is again, what I see day to day. Is it affecting the group? Is it affecting Harry? That's the only time it'll kind of maybe register. It won't affect me. I'll come in here every week and I'll try and answer the questions as best as I can, but that'll be the barometer. And right now I don't have that barometer because he's not even here yet. So that'll tell me, whether that's becoming an issue or not. And I doubt somebody, like Harry would let it affect him in any sort of way, because this football club means too much to him and he wouldn't let it infiltrate the dressing room. So I guess it's how we react as a football club. It's going to be important, and they'll get tested, mate, for sure.
And my last one, you talked in the other section about your journey started on the other side of the world to get here today. I just wondered, on that journey, were there any Tottenham teams or players who really captured your imagination?
Yeah, plenty, because I've said it a few times that if you do grow up on the other side of the world, you don't have it on your doorstep. So anything you could get, and then for the most part for us, it was the Premier League or the English First Division back when I was growing up. And I remember Ricky Villa and Aussie Ardiles, absolutely. I remember that FA Cup final, absolutely, because they were my best childhood memories. I've said before, because that was probably me and my dad 2 a.m. And that's me as a young boy sitting on a couch watching a game of football. So plenty of Tottenham teams, Glenn Hoddle's an absolute master, and those kind of players, resonated around the world. Sometimes I know it's hard for you guys to understand that, because you've had it, right in front of you your whole lives. But when you're living on the other side of the world, it's a real investment, to get up in the middle of the night, and it stays with you. Those kind of things stays with you. And there's plenty of, teams through that era and players, Tottenham players, that have definitely I have strong memories of in my childhood.
Charlie.
How much help and support has Pep Guardiola given you the last few years?
Pep Guardiola.
Well, he's spoken at length about you in glowing terms recently, saying how you've met and how
Yeah, and very gracious of him. But I think I've probably spent 20 minutes in his company, mate. So, and I've never spoken to him otherwise. So, but if you're asking me, he's going to go down as one of the greatest managers of all time. He's had an unbelievable influence on the game of football, and all of us involved in it, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, been influenced by him. Absolutely. What an unbelievable manager. But you can check my phone, mate. He's not in there. I don't have him as Pep, to call up. Yeah, that's right. That's when I met him. Yeah, and he was great. He's very generous. And look, most of the top managers. I mean, I'll tell people, I coached against Sir Alex Ferguson in 2000 in Brazil. And we did a press conference together, and he gave me 15 minutes of his time, mate. It was gold for me. I was only sort of, I think I was 34 at the time, and I was coaching a team from Australia and playing against Man U in the Club World Cup, and he spent 10, 15 minutes that were gold for me, So, I think all the great managers and the great people in this world, they have that trademark of being generous. And when I came across Pep in Japan, he was generous with his time, and those kind of things always are. You don't want to. There are people who you admire from afar, and there are plenty that after I met them, I wish I hadn't. But but he's not one of them, and it's kind of been a guiding principle in my life. I don't want anyone to sort of walk away disappointed if they've had a chat to me. So you kind of want to be kind with your time, and he certainly was.
Liam.
Hi, Ange. Very open at Celtic about how the club embraced you and embraced your family as well. So how difficult was it, to leave that element of it behind? Like, did that require a certain degree of soul searching, given that connection you had with the club and the fans in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. My wife and my kids loved it up there, and like I said, my whole family was really happy. But we also, I've got two young ones, and they've lived abroad their whole life in now 4 different countries. So we kind of made a decision as a family that, wherever sort of my profession took us, we'd go and we'd experience that. And my wife knows better than anyone that I can't resist the challenge. That's when I'm at my best, and I don't, my history is I've never stayed too long at too many clubs. I've always left when clubs are successful, and all I've tried to do wherever I've been is, like most managers, I guess, you try and leave the club you've kind of inherited in a better place than when you picked it up, and like I said, hopefully make a positive impact. And it was a tough decision for sure. But it was a tough decision to leave the Australian national team before a World Cup. It was tough to leave, Yokohama after, winning the championship there. You establish relationships with people. They're always tough decisions, but for me, I've always gone with my gut with these things. And like I said, I know when I'm at my best, and when I'm at my best is when the challenge is the biggest. And I thought this was a challenge that kind of would fit all of the things that I'm looking for as the next step.
What were the key factors in the decision? Because I know there was still a lot you wanted to achieve at Celtic, particularly in terms of the Champions League. So
Yeah.
How did it weigh up in the end?
Again, it just comes down, like I said, to where I felt, the biggest challenge, was there for me, and I've always tried to, for me to come from where I've come from to be sitting here today, I needed to have that instinct inside me to know when to move on, because I've had to be faultless in my career to get to this point, because no one's going to rate an Australian manager, are they? So if I'd had any sort of significant failures along the way, I was never going to get here. Part of that process has been to me to know that, I need to keep moving to be at my best, and yes, there's always challenges at every club you're at. Every club I've been at that I've left, or even the national team, there was more challenges, but there are always challenges, always. Even if I stayed at a club for 5 years, I'd never be satisfied at where we're at. I'll be looking to improve all the time. So that's not the key factor for me. The key factor for me was that there was an opportunity here to again make an impact at a football club, which I've tried to do at every club I've been.
Just last one, have you had a chance to speak to Brendan at all since he came in and took the job, and how much do you feel he is the right man to carry on what you built at Celtic?
He's absolutely the right man, mate. He's a fantastic manager, and he loves that football club. He was constantly messaging me while I was Celtic manager to make sure that I stayed on track and we had success. And I've exchanged messages with him. He's been, look, to be fair, when I got the role, he was very, very supportive at the start, and even when I got this role, he sent me a nice message, and I've kind of reciprocated with that and stayed in contact with him and all the staff there. And like I said, I've got no doubt they'll have great success and hopefully make an impact in Champions League. I know that's what his ambition is, and that group of players and that staff certainly have the capabilities of doing that. So hopefully that happens. Thank you, mate.
We've got time for just a couple more, Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom Warner from the Times. Tottenham haven't won a trophy for 15 years. So much of the pressure and frustration here is always about not winning stuff. I just wonder, how do you see that debate? I mean, do you think that Tottenham are ready to win something next season, or do you think it's going to take longer?
Again, I'm not going to try and limit us to win. All I know is that I love winning. I don't do any job unless I think I can win, and I think that the club I'm with can win. So that's going to be my intent. Now, I also have a real strong belief in the way that should happen, and that is the way we play, the way we train, like I said, the way we behave, all these kind of things. That's the first bit. You can, if you focus on the winning, I mean, this strong desire to win exists in everybody. There isn't a football club in the world that doesn't want to win. It's not going to make you any different from your opponent on a weekly basis. But the real successful teams, that's underpinned by something stronger, and that is something within that organisation that makes them winners, beyond just wanting to win. So you can't just say, well, we want to win, we're desperate to win. Everyone who wants to win, everyone is desperate. But what's going to get you there? And that's where I come in, because I believe the football we will play and the way we'll go about it will give us an opportunity to do that. And that's what I'm going to focus on. Get us to play the football we want, train the way we want, get the players in that we need, the people in that we need to get us to that point. And then that'll give us the opportunity to have that success. But, just wanting to win is not enough in anything.
The club hired Mourinho and Conte, and the idea was very much to kind of take the rush step, shortcut. These guys have won before. Whereas I think maybe the perception is that by hiring you, it's a bit more of a going back to sort of hiring a building job again. Do you accept that characterisation?
Look, maybe I guess you'd have to ask the people who made the decision, but I don't think there's a shortcut to success. I doubt that Antonio or Jose would say that, all their success has been hard-earned. Any success, like I said, any success you have, if people think it's just a matter of plugging in something special and that happens, it's not how it works. And in terms of me, as I said, I've got this process that I go through with every club I've been, and the way we go about things, and it'll start with the way we play. That's everything for me. The way we play is everything, because that's where you garner the belief that you could do something. It's got to have a basis in something. It can't just be that we want to win, or that we need one more player to be winners, or one manager to be a winner. I just don't believe in that. I just think you need to have something more substantial and to fall back on than that, and that's what I do, because it's quite obvious that there wouldn't be many on this planet that believe that I'm just bringing me in is going to bring us success. That's not going to happen. I think what's going to bring us success is if we, like I said, we start building some really strong foundations in the kind of football we want to play.